Actually, I'm muted right there. Okay, you can tell we haven't gone live in a while. Oh, how sweet it is. We are live now here on Dodgers Dogs. Haven't gone live in a while. So go ahead and share this video out. Let's get a good crowd going. And let's talk Dodgers baseball. Let's talk about the sweep this weekend over the Atlanta Braves. Did you see it coming? Did you see the Dodgers winning all 3 games? I didn't, not going to lie. I was honestly, and again, I don't care, kind of like the same comment that I made about the Diamondbacks. Quite honestly, I was disappointed in the Braves. I thought they were better than that. Ronald Acuna Jr., I'm going to say it out front, I was highly unimpressed with the way that he plays the game. I know he's super talented. I know he's one of the best players in the game. But from a guy that's been in the game his whole life, and Coach Holt will tell you this, I wasn't real talented, and I was a guy that had to do all of the margin type things to have any kind of success. Just the way that he plays doesn't meet my eye. I know he has a lot of talent, and he is one of the best players in the game. I think that negatively impacts the Braves. From time to time, they take big swings. They have definite holes in their swings that the Dodgers had studied and executed and beat all weekend long. I really felt like, hey, both teams are really good. Don't want to take a whole lot away from the Braves, because if you look at their offensive statistics, if you look at the underlying metrics as to how they play offense, they are a really, really, really good offensive team. They have a lot of great offensive players. I just feel like when you're talking about Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, and then now also Andy Pages, those guys, they have swings that are more consistent. I think the Braves are, to me, are a little bit, I talk about all the time, they're either on or off, but I feel like Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, and now Andy Pages, they bring it every single game, and I think you saw that in the 3 games. One a close game, and then 1-2 games that, hey, you hit, I don't know how many home runs over the weekend. We'll get to that here. You hit 9 home runs this weekend, only gave up 2. That was great, and it wasn't just the home runs. It was the walks in front of the home runs, like the Max Muncy home run yesterday. Max Muncy had a huge game. Shohei Ohtani is just ridiculous. It is an honor. Dodgers fans, sit down and listen, because it is an honor. I should say sit down and watch. It's an honor that we get to watch this guy play every single one of his games. The Braves tried to go up in the zone. We talked about this several different times. Craig Osterberg mentioned this on one of our shows, about a month ago, because, again, we haven't gone live in a while. I do apologize for that. This Sunday night deal is going to be every single weekend when I get things going. OSU's in the middle of their Big 12 series. I also have an O-State Daily site. Been covering both the baseball and softball pretty heavily. So, hey, this Sunday night live show, about a little bit after, an hour after game time. I don't want to compete with Dodgers Nation or Dodgers Heads or any of them, because they do a great job. And so I don't want to compete with them. So maybe a little bit after their show, we're going to go live. We're going to talk about all the action down on the farm. We're going to talk about the action over the weekend for the Dodgers. And we're going to have a great time tonight. Looks like we have a great crowd logging in already. Some names and some people in the chat that are very highly recognizable here, and super excited to get to their chat. So it was a great weekend. Okay, so I talk about this all the time. The magic number for starting pitchers, 6 innings. 6 innings. I don't care if they give up 4 runs. I don't really even care if they give up 5 runs. Just get to the 6-inning plateau if you're a starter for the Dodgers. How about this? And this is Tim Neverett, by the way. Hey, the Dodgers, we're not just spoiled with what we see on the field. Tune back and forth between the TV broadcast with Oral. I love it when EK's on as well. Joe Davis, and then also Tim Neverett and Rick Monday. Go back and forth between those two. It is absolutely elite. The presentation you get, they let the game breathe. They let the players on the field be the show. They just kind of bring you the game and let you settle in as a listener and or viewer. And then they just bring you just incredible information. Tim Neverett, and the way Joe Davis tells stories, it's very Vince Scully-ish. And then the way that EK and Oral Hershiser both not just analyze plays, but they analyze it in a way that actually, hey, here's how it impacted the game. And then also here's how it impacts the Dodgers to a hole, and then Rick Monday does the same thing. So go back and forth between the video audio, the audio from the TV feed, and then also the radio feed. You can do that, I know, on any of like the Roku apps and that kind of thing, because it's great. So got this stat from Tim Neverett. 11-2 the Dodgers are when their starting pitchers go at least 6 innings, I should say. So yeah, there you go. Very good. There's your 6-inning plateau. And this weekend, by the way, the Dodgers, we know, they love bullpen games. So here's the mathematical equation. I've been giving you all the way back to the offseason. Okay, so no matter how you slice it, you still only have 13 pitchers on your roster, right? So you can say, well, bullpen games, they give your starters some rest. So yes, they do. But if your starters aren't going deep into games and your bullpen's having to cover a bunch of innings, and then you're also having bullpen games, the only way that works is if you have that up-down train just coming left and right, and it's really chaotic because you're bringing guys up almost daily. And then, so that's really the only way that works if your starters aren't going deep. The best way to give your starters 6 days worth of rest and to actually incorporate the bullpen games, this is the only way that I'm really on board with it, where I think it's actually efficient and effective, is if your starters go at least 6 innings, hopefully 7 innings. The Dodgers got almost 20 innings out of their starters this weekend, which is great. That got you 3 wins on the board right then and there. But guess what else that did? It made it to where the bullpen didn't have to do a whole lot. You use guys like Gus Farland. You use guys like J.P. Fireeisen. Blake Trinan got his feet back wet. And so now, because the bullpen didn't get taxed hardly all this weekend, guess what now that the Dodgers are primed to do? They are set up perfectly for a bullpen game, and one that flows within the consistency of the roster they already have on the 26th man, and not by creating chaos by having to send somebody down, bring somebody back up to get a fresh arm. Because the starters went 20 innings, you have a bullpen game set up with the roster you already have in place. And now, because of that, now you're going to be able to, in a natural way, give your starters that 6 days rest. So the starters going almost 20 innings this weekend goes beyond, like Coach Holt always talks about, hey, today affects tomorrow, which is affects the next day. The Dodgers getting almost 20 innings out of their starters is a bigger deal than just sweeping the Braves over the weekend, which is a huge deal. Hey, we have a great crowd logging in. You guys are the best. I apologize for not getting to these live shows as much as I would like to. I love talking to you guys. There's nothing in the world that I enjoy more than talking to Dodgers baseball and talking to the best baseball crowd on earth. Period. End of discussion. Right here at Dodgers Daily. Dodgers Dogs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Craig, good evening. Elisheva, great to sweep the Braves. Totally agree. Bob Student 10 says sweep. No doubt about it. How sweep it is, right? Daniel Berry Sports Highlight, yo, back to yourself. And yeah, it is very sweet. Paxton was great today. Elisheva, I'm glad you brought that up. Hey, even I have said, hey, the guy, he's been effectively wild. The results, it's like he's been kind of Houdini-ish, and the underlying metrics would say that he's not going to be Houdini-ish like that forever. It's eventually going to catch up to him. You know what he did? To all those people like me who have had that narrative on him, he gave us all a big burger today, right? Like, hey, y'all can go ahead and quiet down with all that talk because this is what I am. This is who I'm going to be. And he did just a great job today. James Paxton, by the way, 6 2/3 innings. I thought it was brilliant. Okay, Dave Roberts, I think if there's one criticism, I think it would be how he uses his bullpen. I think we could all agree on that. And I think there's some real conversation and narrative to have there. I also think there is no surefire way to be able to make perfect decisions on when to pull a guy, when to bring another guy in, all that kind of stuff. I think literally every single fan base of every single manager has the same narrative. Man, he doesn't know when to bring a guy in. He doesn't know when to pull a guy out. It's because there's no science behind it, man. It's such a feel-heavy thing. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. So again, I think if you're to criticize Dave Roberts, I think one of the biggest criticisms would be sometimes how he uses the bullpen. I tell you what, man, this weekend, he was perfect. So he managed to winning the game at hand, and then he also managed the future. So today he tried to get 7 innings out of James Paxton. Again, so you can leave your bullpen intact, so you can have that bullpen game coming up, which then gives your starters the 6 days rest. See how that cycle all works together? But then he also got James Paxton out of the game right at the time that it demanded to do what's best for that situation at hand at that moment. So he played both sides of the card that moment, and then also the bigger picture, got him out at the exact right time. And I thought Dave Roberts was absolutely spot on with his decisions with the bullpen today, so you have to give him a lot of credit for that. So how about James Paxton? His fastball at times has been right around 50% in the strike zone. How about today, 72%? So this is why I've been saying since the offseason, James Paxton is a fit for the Dodgers because he throws that high-riding fastball that, by the way, the Braves, if you listen to Joe Davis, Oral Hershiser, they talked all weekend long. You throw high fastballs to these big swings of the Braves. They like to swing up. They like to lift. So you throw those high fastballs that have good carry. It gets above their uppercuts, and they swing and miss a lot. James Paxton does that. So you ride that fastball, you throw it in zone about 72%. You throw your fastballs in areas of the zone that can beat the swings of the other team. It's exactly what James Paxton did today. And then you get chased with your off speed. That's what James Paxton always has been. That's what the Dodgers love to do. That's why their pitchers rack up 1 million strikeouts going all the way down to the complex, probably in the DSL as well. They ride the four seam. They tumble the off speed and get chased with it out of the zone. And that's exactly what James Paxton does when he's at his best. And that's what he did today on his way to 6 2/3 innings. Pitched, he gave up 5 hits, 1 run, had 3 strikeouts, which, hey, fine, but only the 2 walks. That was James Paxton today, was exactly what you're looking for if you're the Dodgers. So 100% totally agree that Paxton, Elisheba should get credit for his excellent performance today. Hey, great catch there, Elisheba. No doubt about that. Definitely, totally agree that it was his best outing as a Dodger. Joe Davis, Rick Monday, super awesome, no doubt. Craig Osterberg, David Vassay does a great job. Yes, he has a tough job. I've done those post-game shows quite a bit, and I can tell you when fans are passionate, which you want them to be, when they lose, it gets real annoying whenever you have just cesspools of negativity coming in. And you're just like, and then also you're trying to toe that line between, hey, you got to be around these players all day, every day, all day, right? You got to be around Dave Roberts. You got to be around all of the people in the front office. But then also you can't just go on the air and be a complete homer and just ignore all the failures and all the negativity. So you got to kind of ride both sides of the line. And there's nobody that does a better job of being honest and being upfront with the critique that David Vassay gives, but also having the players' backs and having Dave Roberts' back. He doesn't just throw them under the bus. He definitely has their back. So I would totally agree that David Vassay, Craig, does a very, very, very good job for all those perspectives. Yeah, Elisheva loves Dave Vassay as well. Hey, Bob Student 10 says love the LA broadcast. Very informative and in-depth. Less on the homerism. I would totally agree. Craig Osterberg. Hey, good call here, Craig. Craig always brings his A game. Look at this crowd we have logging in. I tell you all the time, guys, you are the best crowd in baseball. Not the biggest, although it is growing. You are the best. I can't thank you enough for the growth that this channel has seen. It is because you guys are so awesome. We are doing this together, and because of that, if you can't tell, I'm very proud of this channel, and also I just am so excited and thankful to all of you guys out there and ladies out there that have made this happen. This has been so fun. It's comments like this. Craig Osterberg says the defense has improved. Absolutely. First of all, Gavin Lux, he's done better in the last 7 games. He's hitting close to 300 in his last 7 games. So I think he's settling in, but his defense has been good. Miggy Rojas has played more at second base. That helps. And then also, point blank, hey, we have been transparent and honest about Max Muncy's defense in the past, right? So if you're going to be transparent and honest, you got to give credit when credit's due, man. The dude played some good defense this weekend, and I can tell you there were a couple of times where the pitchers were very thankful. He came in, he read the hop, he got his back end done, made a good throw. The outfield defense is always very good. And so, yeah, no doubt, I would totally agree that everything was good this weekend, especially the defense. Craig, any word from Roberts how many innings he plans to have Buehler pitch tomorrow? It won't be a matter of innings, Yong Yi. I understand what you're saying. It will be strictly a pitch count. There will be a strict pitch count on Walker Buehler. So I'm glad you brought that up. So let's talk about Blake Trinan, who is in the same situation as Walker Buehler. Blake Trinan, his last outing in Oklahoma City was like 93, 94. The thing that's exciting about Blake Trinan, though, and let's flip to some video of him. I want you to see Blake Trinan here. Let's get to some videos. Here is Blake Trinan right there, and then we will also get to some more of his rehab outing. So this is rehab outing. We can actually go longer with this video. He was like 93, 94 in this outing, but the thing that was exciting about it, and I'm going to relate this back to Buehler, Walker Buehler Young here in just a second, was that, hey, he wasn't maxing out on his velo, but his velo, as far as how fast he was throwing at the top end, and then also consistently, it's called hit and sit, he was hitting the same number as he was sitting, which means he was very consistent. He did the exact same thing today, but yet today, because he was in a major league environment, he had that extra adrenaline, his velo actually ticked up about a mile and a half more than it did in his last rehab outing in Oklahoma City. He was up to about 95 today. So Walker Buehler has been around 93, 94. I've said it a couple of times. I think the adrenaline of being in a major league environment, in a major league stadium, I think that could bump him back up to 95, 96, and I think we're all hoping for that. So that's a great point to make, Yang Yi. Thank you so much for joining. But I would say probably his pitch count is going to be somewhere around 75 pitches. That would be my guess. 75 pitches around there. Now, I'll say this too. Not all pitch counts are created equally. Some pitch counts have more stress to them. Some pitch counts are a little easier. So I think there is maybe a little bit of leeway, and that in the steering wheel there that Dave Roberts could go, hey, if it looks like it's a stressful type 75 and it's a laboring type outing for Walker Buehler, it may go underneath that number. And I'm just making up that number out of thin air. I have no sources on that. I have no inside information. That's just with I've been in the game of baseball my entire life, playing, coaching, umpiring it, you name it. Just from my experience, that would be my guess. That would be the limit. Somewhere around 75, maybe 80, maybe 90, as many as that. But in that range right there. But again, if it's stressful, you go underneath that number. If it's easy, you might go a few pitches over that. That's the leeway to the steering wheel I think Dave Roberts might have to it. But I think that's kind of the limit. It's not going to be innings. It's going to be a pitch count from that scenario. Hey, Nando390, thank you for joining. Big Bad Braves. Didn't look like it. Big swings, lots of uppercuts. They get beat by the fastball up in the zone, and they chase the breaking balls out of the zone. And then also Friday night, the subtle movement. We talked about that on the show that we released on Saturday morning. The subtle movement of Gavin Stone gets off of the barrels for the Braves. They struggled with that. They hit a bunch of balls where they're like, man, I can't believe I missed that. They either got it in on the hands or on the end of the barrel. And then Tyler Glass now being able to hit the top of the zone. Also James Paxton hitting the top of the zone. And both of them then have big breaking balls that would show in the zone, break out of the zone. That's literally the kryptonite for the Braves. So moving, just late subtle movement and then fastballs up, breaking balls out of the zone. I tell you what, man, the Dodgers did exactly what they're supposed to pitching wise to beat the Braves. obviously, and their bats. Craig Osterberg, Casey Austin do a great job every day. Thank you so much for Craig. We work really hard. We watch all these games. We study them. We analyze them. We try to bring a fresh, new perspective. So anytime that we get a compliment like that, look at this crowd we have logging in, we totally appreciate it. Soldier Boy 3064, thank you so much for joining. Giants are currently losing 5-1 to the Phillies. And by the way, the Phillies, I believe, have overtaken the Braves. So I don't even think the Braves are the second best team in the National League. The Dodgers, we talked about it. This was a statement weekend. I don't care what anybody says. This goes to show you. So when I evaluate two teams, here's how I evaluate it. If there's a blowout, which team is going to win that blowout? So when you look at the Dodgers and the Braves, if I were to say, hey, who is more likely to blow out who in that series? We saw it. If there's going to be a blowout, it's more likely that the Dodgers are going to blow out the Braves than the Braves blowing out the Dodgers on a consistent basis. So whenever I look at that and I think, well, who's more likely to do that? That's the better team to me. So I think the Dodgers, yes, it's just hey, we're not going to make too much out of it. Like we said in our show the other day, it's just a series in early May, but yet it's not, man. To me, now you walk around and you go, yeah, man, we're the dudes of the National League, man. Screw everybody else. Here's what it does for you from a mentality perspective. If you're a manager, if you're Andrew Friedman, if you're Mookie Betts, here's what this does for you. You now have proof that if we play to our capabilities, it doesn't matter what the other team does. We're better than they are. So it's not up to what they do. It's up to what we do. All we have to do is go out and play as good as we can, play our game, and we are the best team in baseball. That's what a weekend like this does for you. That's the significance of it. Yes, it's great to get the wins as far as your overall record and all that, but more so from a mentality perspective, you claim dominance. You let the Braves know that the Dodgers are going to have to play bad for them to win. All the Dodgers have to do is play good, and they will not beat the Dodgers. Yongyi Yarbrough is a valuable pitcher to eat some innings. Grove should limit his pitching to one inning. See, Young, this is why that's why I always say Dodgers Daily is the best community in baseball. It's absolutely the most intelligent, best community in baseball. 100% on Ryan Yarbrough. We've been saying that all year. If you're going to have bullpen games, you got to have Ryan Yarbrough on your roster because he is your bullpen game guy. We've also been saying that Michael Grove needs to be a one-inning reliever, right? Yang Yi, great observation. How about this? Michael Grove has not allowed a run in his last 4 one-inning outings. Okay, so, hey, let's do to Michael Grove like you've done every one of these other guys like that have come in, like Joe Kelly for the most part, even Evan Phillips, Ryan Brazier when he's been healthy. Let's give him the same type of role that they had and see how he does. The one-inning role where you can go out there, and then there's going to be a couple of outings like today where you just go out there and it doesn't even feel like you pitched because you actually just zoomed right through it, and then you start gaining confidence from all of those perspectives. So Michael Grove, 4 one-inning outings in a row without giving up a run. That is an elite observation, Yang Yi. That, again, is why Dodgers Daily has the best crowd out there. Thank you so much. The only problem I see, this is from Soldier Boy 3064, is the third base coach. Yeah, Dino Ebel, I can tell you this, within the baseball community, he is thought of as the best, not one of, the best third base coach in the game of baseball from the baseball community. And then also, it's not just the third base coaching that Dino gives you. We mentioned just a minute ago the infield work that the Dodgers did, especially Max Muncy. If you want to give somebody credit for that, the guy that you would give the most credit to would be Dino Ebel. He just does a great job with infielders and their defense. Yongyi Phillies are for real. Yeah, they have the top-end talent to match the Dodgers if the Dodgers play well. I believe the Dodgers and Phillies may well meet in the NLCS. That would be a great matchup. It would be 2 great fan bases, and it would probably be the best players in the National League all conglomerated together as far as being assembled on 2 different teams that you could get. Soldier Boy, again, I'm very impressed with this team. They may have my support always, but this is different. Yeah, no doubt. Michael Craywick. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for joining from Thailand. How about that, man? That's how great this Dodgers Daily community is. We get people all over the world wanting to talk about the beautiful boys in blue, the Dodgers. It is all good this weekend. If you can't tell, I am in a great mood because this was a hell of a lot of fun to watch the boys in blue play as well as they did all weekend. Hey, definitely smash that like button, leave a like, subscribe. So whenever you leave a like, whenever you leave a comment, that tells YouTube that this is a video that you like. And because it's a video you like, it will start suggesting it with all the other videos. Like if Doug McCain, D-Mac goes on, it might suggest this video after one of his, and his videos get like 30,000 views. And so 30,000 times this video here of mine in this small Dodgers Daily channel gets suggested, then my channel gets more views. That's how all this works. So if you want to know, obviously I think D-Mac is the best of the business, no doubt. But also, hey, I root for D-Mac and Dodgers heads and Dodger Blue and all these bigger YouTube channels and Clint Pacias and all that to do really well, because the better they do, the more my video gets suggested. So definitely leave a like, leave a comment, not just in the chat here. And then obviously if you haven't subscribed, and also turn on that notification. Turn on your notifications, hit that notification bell. So like tonight, if we do go on live, you will know all about it. How about that? We just hit triple digits. That is awesome. You guys out there in Dodgers Daily Land are the best. Okay, hey, how about this? Michael Craywick, welcome back, Mr. Trinan. He was absolutely fantastic today. We talked about his consistency. Yeah, that was a bad injury. It was tough to watch. Hey, Soldier Boy 3064, I appreciate the wonderful comments. You do an amazing job. We admire the great work. Thank you so much for those comments. Kenny Chung, yeah, we're all welcome to the show tonight. Norm Lee, thank you so much for joining. Great to have you. Hey, how about our moderator, Gregory? Gregory, good evening. You do such a wonderful job. I want to thank you for all the wonderful comments and all the great work you do for Dodgers Daily, Gregory. It is 100% appreciated. History, man, 08-28 years ago, we had just had TV and radio for sports talk. Now we got all the internet, social media, all kinds of stuff. It's amazing how far technology has come. It's a lot of fun, isn't it? I mean, a guy like me, just a guy who decided to buy a microphone and a computer and a couple of cameras and start talking about the Dodgers. Now we can come out here and have a show like this and talk awesome Dodgers baseball. Hey, it's a great night. You know why? Harley just joined. Harley is awesome, man. Harley's an old professional baseball player. If you want to just talk Dodgers baseball, not chatter, we're not just going to talk just to be talking. If you want to talk about real baseball, Harley is your man. Awesome series. Glad to see them play defense and mash the ball. Yep, Norm Lee says, hey, Norm Lee, good evening. Norm Lee is one of our awesome Dodgers Daily posters out there. Just always leaves excellent comments. Says the Phillies have the best pitching staff, and Paya's had a very good day defensively with the high sun. Yeah, that is a scary situation. I know the broadcast team did a good job of explaining just how scary that can be. You know, in the 80s, they had those flip glasses. I don't know why those went away, where you could actually see the ball off the bat with your own eyes. And then as soon as you had to look up into the sun, you could flip your glasses down, so you had the best of all worlds. But he had a terrible at-bats by hacking at balls out of the zone. I would agree, Norm, that swinging out of the zone finally caught up with him. We saw on the game-winning hit the other night, he actually went out of the zone several different times and ended up getting a hit. And also, I think, too, when you look at the lineup they had today, there wasn't a whole lot of protection behind him. And also, there's an old saying, you can't walk your way off the island. I still think he's in prove-it mode, and you don't, to him, you know, to young guys like that, you have to hit your way into the lineup. They don't realize a lot of times it's what Norm's saying here. It's equally as much about quality at bats as it is hits. When I say quality at bats, okay, so what is a quality at bat? Obviously, any base hit's a quality at bat. Anytime you get on base in any way, that's a quality at bat. Any at bat over 7 pitches, that's a quality at bat. Any bat that has an exit velo of, say, 95 or over, that's a quality at bat. So sometimes young hitters, Norm, I would agree with you here, They think they have to get a hit every time to prove themselves, and they forget that, hey, quality at bats actually show more maturity a lot of times than hits. Hits show talent, which he has a lot of. Quality at bats show maturity. So I would agree with that. Hey, David E., thank you so much for joining. Hello, Casey. Mookie's defense is improving, but is it affecting his offense, or is it just Atlanta's good pitching? When should he take a day? That's the beautiful part of it. You have Miggy Rowe, who is just such a wonderful, wonderful teammate that can go over to shortstop. I don't think it's affecting his defense. I can tell you this, Mookie Betts has said for himself that he is much, much, much less tired. I even talked about this in the offseason. There's actually quite a bit less room to cover in the infield than there is in the outfield. And I can also tell you this as well. Like when I umpire the bases and I'm just standing out in the field, like in high school, sometimes you umpire like 4 games in one day. And let's say that I do 1 play job and 3 base jobs, and I'm just standing out in the field, not moving all day. At the end of that day, I'm telling you, man, my body is worn out just standing in place. You know, you're kind of bored, your mind's wandering. I'm telling you, man, standing in right field, you get bored, your mind wanders, you're just standing in place. That's more tiring. I know this sounds weird. Then whenever you're at shortstop, your brain's engaged on every pitch, your feet are moving on every pitch, you're always doing something. And by the end of the day, I think actually Mookie Betts, matter of fact, he's actually said this, he's less tired after a day of playing shortstop than he is playing the outfield. So no, I don't think in any way, shape, or form playing defense is affecting his offense. I think the Dodgers can strategically give him a day off when they feel like he needs it, and not necessarily because they think he has to have it, because he is wearing down. So I think that's a great observation, Dave. But I would say I think playing shortstop's actually helping his offense. It's just baseball, man. There's ups and downs. You're always going to have those. Hey, Don't Care 187, thank you so much for joining. Can't wait to see Walker Buehler back. I got to see both of his last 2 rehab outings in Oklahoma City. He looked really, really good. Yang Yi, so happy to see Trinan come back nicely after 1.5 years. That slide, you see that last slider he threw? That was just absolutely 100% nasty. Norm Lee, I still worry about the Arias trade, the Padres. That is one player who could have fully solidified the Dodgers lineup, I think, in that trade, was keeping him from L.A. as much as the Padres. Dodgers Daily, best community out there. Ding, 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 ding. Another elite comment. We've had several of them already tonight. I definitely think the Padres jumped the gun on him to make sure he doesn't come to the Dodgers, knowing that, hey, Gavin Lux is there. The Dodgers might want to move Mookie Betts back to second base or find whatever. Try to figure out how to get another bat-to-ball skill guy in their lineup, whatever it may be. That didn't make any sense, saying move Mookie Betts back to second base as far as this guy goes. But you get my point. The Dodgers, this was going to be an attractive guy. I know Jay mentioned in a comment the other day that you do have trade pieces to go get him if you want him. So I definitely think he was absolutely on the Dodgers' radar. So they got out ahead of it, right? And they went and got him. And I think you are 100% correct that had a lot to do with, hey, not only are we getting better, we're keeping the Dodgers from filling in a spot that might complete their circuit. So that is a great conversation, a great observation. Fried is one of the hottest pitchers in baseball, and we're lucky we got 4 runs off of him. And wow, Shohei Ohtani, man. Shohei Ohtani. So Craig has mentioned a couple of times that Shohei Ohtani sometimes gets pull happy, and when he's doing that, he's pulling off the ball, which means everything's going up at the ball, which if you look at that, so sometimes his swing gets big. And when he does that, what beats that? Well, just like we talked about with the Braves. They have big swings, right? Fastballs up in the zone beat that. So if you look at the home run, they tried to beat him up in the zone thinking his swing might be too big, but he got to it, and he nailed a home run. Also, when you go back to that, I can't play the live video because it'll be copyrighted. When I do the edits, I keep it to about 10 seconds, and it's in the fair use. But it gets a little bit tricky with the live shows. So I can't show you the video of it, but just go back to Shohei Ohtani's home run. The reason why he got to it, look how deep he let that ball get. He wasn't trying to pull that ball. He was just trying to hit it, right? Because he let that ball get so deep, and that's why he got to that high fastball. That's why he turned on it and hit the home run. Then the next pitch. He's so amazing. I always say it all the time, he's a great hitter first that sometimes hits home runs. Actually, a lot of times hit home run. I think he has 9 now, which is tied for the team lead. The next at bat, he gets a sinker that's moving away from him on the outer half, and guess what he does? He dumps it into left field. I mean, this guy is like Tony Gwynn as far as being able to hit the ball the other way, and then like Barry Bonds hitting home runs. It's like those two players together. And like I said, guys, just know that you're watching history every time you get to watch him play, because he is like the Babe Ruth of this generation, man. I mean, he's just that good. It's like we're getting to watch a Babe Ruth type vibe, a Babe Ruth type player with our own eyes. You know, all those stories you heard of Babe Ruth growing up, never got to see him with my own eyes. You're getting to see it with Shohei Ohtani, not necessarily for all the home runs and all. That's not what I mean, but that type of generational type player. So, hey, if you're a Dodgers fan, enjoy every second of getting to see Shohei Ohtani. And the best part of that is we're going to get to see him for a hell of a long time, right? Huh? You got to love that. And hopefully we're going to get to see it in multiple World Series settings. Soldier Boy 3064 is actually cool seeing all these bees in Arizona. Yeah, there's a shortage of bees, and it's a serious issue, completely off topic. Just thinking out loud. That also brings me up. Tim Neverett mentioned this, and Alex Friedman, the AAA play-by-play voice of the Oklahoma City Dodgers, actually tweeted this out. Landon Knack, you remember if the game that got suspended or postponed for a little bit, they had to start it late because of the bees in Arizona. Remember, Landon Knack was the starter of that game, okay? So Landon Knack started today for AAA Oklahoma City. Guess who he got to pitch against? The Salt Lake Bees. So he got to pitch after a bee delay in Arizona, and then his next outing is against the Bees in Oklahoma City. That's kind of funny. But yeah, and that made me think of that, Soldier Boy, when he said that. Sammy Boy Smith, thank you so much for joining. We have the best crowd out there. Over 100 viewers tuning in. We're going to do this every Sunday, about an hour or so after the game is over. Make sure you have your notifications turned on so when we go live, we can talk Dodgers baseball and we can get it all done. By the way, if you have any questions about any of the action down on the farm over the weekend, Miguel Vargas hit a very impressive home run. Just let me know. We'll get to it. And we will talk anything and everything that you want. Kenny Chung says Arias is terrible at defense. No place for him on the Dodgers. Yeah, he's definitely going to play a lot of DH for the Padres. Dodgers don't need a DH, says Deuce. BC, go Dodgers. Ohtani owns the Braves. Yep. Crazy that the Padres are only paying him $590,000. That is from Kenny Chung. Ohtani hits .455 versus Atlanta with 15 hits and 4 home runs. Normally, Shohei going the opposite way since the extra innings game is incredible for the Dodgers. He was doing that at his peak with the Angels. This is awesome for this team. Totally agree normally, 100%. Deuce, why try to pull the ball when you can hit it to 460 to left center? Hey, we've been talking about that for a long time on Dodgers Daily, right? And it's not that you're going to hit every ball to left center, but if you're thinking left center, that gap approach, that lets you let the ball travel a little bit further. And what's the advantage of letting the ball travel further? You get to see spin and location. Just that extra split second. And we know in the game of baseball, split seconds matter. An eighth of an inch is the difference between a pop-up and a home run. So all of those itty-bitty tiny margins, letting the ball get deep, seeing spin for just that much longer, all of those itty-bitty tiny margins matter. So that's why trying to hit the ball to the opposite field gap is so advantageous for guys that are actually strong enough to do that, because, again, that allows them to see the ball longer and allows them to identify spin and location. History Man 0828, weird irony there about the Bees. Yeah, no doubt. Hey, Soldier Boy 3064 says hit that like button. I would totally agree with that. Harley Pajes, it looks like pitch him up and then bounce it, but his last home run, the pitch got too much in the heart and smashed the home run, but he has to just slow down and with that great swing smash. I will say, Harley, because he has such a north-south bat angle, I actually explained that a couple of weeks ago, and I think I explained it on the hot take that we had of Andy Pages. He has a very north-south bat angle, but yet his hands come flat. He hits the ball down in the zone very, very, very well. So he has a lot of confidence in that ball down in the zone. That's why he swings at it. But that brings to the point, Harley, you come to the major leagues. Now, what's the difference between the major leagues and the minor leagues? You can go watch Rancho. You can go to the Arizona and to the complex, and they're all going to have guys throwing 96, 97, 98. You watch these guys' sliders, and you go, damn, man, look at holy crap, look at that slider. Every single organization at every level has guys that have major league caliber type sliders and fastballs and all that. So why aren't they in the major leagues? Because they don't execute. So why the major leagues is such a tough transition is because guys in the major leagues, they have all that stuff that you see, the dirty sliders, the big fastballs, and then they also have major league execution. So as soon as they find a hole, they are able to execute pitch sequences to make pitch locations to your hole, to beat your holes, and then they also have the talent that has enough velo, enough spin, enough break, and all that to actually beat you once they execute to those locations. So I say all that to say, I agree with you, Harley. There's always an adjustment period for hitters. I think Andy Pages, this is the old saying, you know this, Harley, as well as I do. When you have young kids, I use a quote, hey, bad dogs bite when they're pups. If they're good, you're going to know they're good real fast because they're going to let you know. They're going to do something real fast when they're young. That's going to let you go, yeah, this dude's good. Having said that, you have to slow them down, like Harley's saying. I will say it is much, much, much easier to slow down a young player than it is to speed them up. So all those things you're talking about, Harley, he's over-aggressive, he's swinging too much, all that, those are all great things. You can slow a guy down. Like what's happening to James Outman right now is he's indecisive. He's actually too slow right now. James Outman needs to speed up, you know. He just needs to say, screw it, I'm going to feel it, I'm going to see a ball, I'm going to get aggressive, whatever. So the Andy Pages deal, they'll be able to slow him down. He swings at those because he hits them a lot, because he has that north-south bat angle with the flat path of the hands, and he has a supreme amount of confidence in being able to hit those pitches. But major league pitchers are going to be able to move that ball, say, 4 inches lower than maybe a minor league pitcher does, and they're going to be able to do it, say, 30% more consistently. And because of that, those margins are going to make it that much more difficult to execute on a consistent basis. That is a great point. Mr. Seabat, I'm walking around the house with a broom all night to honor my Dodgers. With the broom. Hey, let's talk some good old-fashioned, good-hearted smack talk. Gotta love it. Hey, normally I think Robert should pay $100 every time Taylor strikes out, each time he puts him in the lineup. Okay, Norm, I can't disagree with you from a results perspective. I covered this on a show the other day. Here is one, maybe this is tinfoil, maybe it's not. You need to rack up the at-bats for Chris Taylor, because when Jason Hayward comes back, you need to figure out what you're going to do. Is it going to be Taylor or is it going to be James Outman? And you can't they're just not going to send Taylor down unless they have enough at-bats to say, hey, this just, not only is this not working, it's not going to work. So, hey, we need to do something about this, Chris. We love you. Either DFA you, find an injury to send him down the minor leagues. Either way, you end up in AAA Oklahoma City or Rancho or wherever. The only way the Dodgers are going to be able to come to that conclusion is if they have enough bats to see with their own eyes to say, hey, yeah, it's not, again, Austin says this all the time, it's not, hey, it's not working. The only way the Dodgers are going to pull that trigger is if they can definitively in their own minds as a collective group make the statement, it's not going to work. This isn't going to work in the near future either. That's the only way you pull the trigger. And to come to that conclusion, you need as much evidence as you can get. That's why I think they're giving Chris Taylor all these at-bats right now. Norm, is game 2 against the Marlins going to be a bullpen game to give Yamamoto 6 days rest? Mentioned that in the show earlier. Hey, you got almost 20 innings from your starters this weekend. Not only did that give you 3 victories, it also rested your bullpen and gave you a very natural way of having a bullpen game without having to create chaos with the up-down train. So, yeah, I would not be surprised whatsoever. The Dodgers are set up very rosy for the bullpen game that they love to have to give their starters the 6 days rest. So, again, hey, Dodgers Daily, best community in the world right there. You just saw several great comments from Harley, from Norm, from Young, Mr. Seabad, all of that. Mr. Seabad, I'm worried about the pace the Dodgers are playing at so early in the season. Can this continue? Well, I'll say this. I've said it a couple times, Mr. Seabad. Yes, this was just a series in early May. You could limit it just to that. It's just 3 wins on the 162. The Dodgers, you can tell their players took this as a statement weekend. So I think they kind of, for as much as you can for an early series, they made it a big deal. And I think that's why they came out and played as well as they did. Knowing you have the buffer of the Marlins, who are just god-awful coming into town after that. So I don't think it's necessarily the Dodgers are trying to peak. I think they did try to peak this weekend because they wanted to make a statement to the Braves. Now, are the Dodgers to play good enough to play this well all season? Obviously, there's going to be ups and downs. I think the downs are going to be less than in years past because Coach Holt talks about all the time. The offense is too good. And then also, I've mentioned this several different times too, Tyler Glasnow has been a stopper. Hey, guys, we're struggling. We've lost some games. Give me the ball. I'm going to go out and shove. We're going to turn this thing around. We're going to get back on a winning streak. If you want to go back to the origination of this winning streak, just go right back to Mr. Tyler Glasnow. Not only has he been fantastic and put wins on the board, he also has been the guy that's taken the ball and been the stopper. Being a stopper is as big a part of being a number one ace as going out there and just dominating on any one given night. That's a big part of being the number one, as your team can go, hey, we're good because we got Glasnow coming up and we know we're going to win that game. So I do think there's going to be ups and downs, but I think a high level of winning is super sustainable and not a bad thing for this Dodgers team. Yang Yi, as Hayward comes back, it is likely Outman sent to the minors. It may help Outman to play every day in the minors to work on his swing. James Outman, Young, you know, you have awesome comments, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I might be wrong on this. I will differ, though. James Outman is not going to get better in the minor leagues. The adjustment that he has to make are to major league pitchers, okay? Major league pitchers are the ones that are beating him. Major league environments is what's getting to him right now. Coming back to Oklahoma City and facing minor league pitchers in front of 3,500 people on a Tuesday, that's not what James Outman needs. He needs to learn how to make the adjustments that he needs to make right now against what major leaguers can do to execute. So if you actually want James Outman to get fixed, my opinion, and you know nobody's a bigger fan of James Outman than I am, nobody has more confidence in him than I do, and nobody is rooting for him more than me, and then I'm also a huge Dodgers fan. If you want James Outman to actually get fixed, then you give him the runway at the major league level. You're going to win 161 games this year anyways, whether he's in the lineup or not. So you have the buffer. So it's going to all come down to, do the Dodgers actually think James Outman is going to fix this? Do they think he actually is going to get through this? If you think James Outman is capable of getting through this and being a two-war player, you're going to win enough games where you put him out there, you let him figure it out, and then you let him get hot. So by the end of the year, you have a two-war player that plays great defense. That's only going to happen at a major league level. Because, again, if you're like 3 games in second place, you're fighting for your life for a playoff berth, yeah, you send James Outman down because you need to win games, right? But the situation the Dodgers are in, it's all of evaluation is, what is our best lineup when the playoffs roll around? Let's set up the entire regular season to get everybody fixed and everybody ready to be the best player they can at the end of the year. BC, I was kind of hoping the Braves would ignite something in him. His last good series was the 2021 NLCS. He destroyed the Braves. Howdy, Dodgers dogs. Denard 2010. If Ohtani got Roberts a toy Porsche, Taylor should buy him a house for continuing to play him. Yeah, I love to watch him swing, Harley says, talking about, I believe, Ohtani. And as we move through here, what a great crowd we have had. We've been over 100 consistently. Normally, what are the realistic expectations for Buehler tomorrow? I think around 75 pitches. I think around 95 miles an hour. I don't think it's going to be innings. I think it's going to be a pitch limit. And again, based on whether it's laborsome or rather easy, I think Dave Roberts could probably swing 7 or 8 pitches one way or the other. History man 0828, Outman has a better chance to overcome his struggles. If that's how you think, if the Dodgers think that he will overcome his struggles, you leave him in the major league lineup, you put him in there as much as you can, you're going to win anyways. And then you let him get through it, and then you have the best team at the end of it. Mr. Seabad, my Dodgers phantom is pregnant again. So happy. Yep. At least Outman isn't. Taylor says BC. Hardy says Padres are really depleting their system. Eventually will catch up with you. Yeah, well, they had one of the best systems. They had a lot of margin for error. I mean, the Padres went 4 or 5 years in a row where they had one of the best systems in all of baseball. So, yeah, they are depleting it, but it's another deal too. Also, matter of fact, I got to see Salt Lake take some infield. I got to see Elliott Soto, who used to be with the Dodgers organization a couple of years ago. What a lot of organizations can do too is they can go get a lot of those quad A guys, like an Elliott Soto, that can really, like the Dodgers have Kevin Padlo, Chris Owings, Chris Oakey, all those kind of guys, and you can fill your AAA system up with guys like that, and then that allows you to build the lower parts of your system a little bit easier. So I think the Padres could go that route and get some of those quad A veteran type guys to help with that situation. But yeah, they're definitely trying to go all in at the major league level, 100% about that. William Andrews, Outman is slumping, no doubt, but he's not losing us any gains per se. So I agree with Casey. It's kind of what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to say he's doing good or any of that. I'm just saying if you think James Outman is capable of getting through this and being a great player, and if James Outman, the 4-WAR player he was last year, is the best case scenario for this team, the only way to get him through it's at the major league level. That's just kind of where I'm at on that. Hey, Sammy Boy Smith says Paxton has our lowest ERA. BC probably going to miss DB later tonight, but might catch the end of it. Hey, Norm Lee, given the potentially bad outlook for Gratterall and Hurt, I will say, will be back in June. I'll say that. That's all I can say on that. Should the Dodgers go for broke and make a Godfather offer to the A's for Max DeMiller? No. The Dodgers need to sit back. They got everything they need. They need to sit tight. They need to wait. They need to let everything play out. I think Andy Pajes is showing you that. You bring up guys. You got Blake Trinan coming. JP Fireisen, the last time he was healthy and had consistent major league run, he was really good. You got everything you need to sit back and evaluate. What do we have here? Do we need? So right now, I would say no on any of that. San Diego can easily get back their prospects by trading Arias at the deadline. Yeah, there you go. That's kind of what we talked about with Luzardo. Hey, you can get Luzardo, use him for a year, then trade him and get the prospects back. That's exactly what you could do for Arias, no doubt about that. If they're not winning with him, plus it blocks us, so it could be good for San Diego. No doubt about that. How about Saturday? Scored in 5 different innings. You had 3 different crooked numbers on the board. The 3rd inning, we talked about Ohtani hitting the home run. They tried to go up on him. 4th inning, I just could not believe this. Andy Pajes, how many times have I said he loves to ambush fastballs? And so I'm not exactly sure what Elder was doing. He threw him a first pitch fastball up in the zone, and Andy Pajes got all over it, hit a home run. Betts, hey, how about this? In the 4th inning, Betts took 5 sliders. This is how good the top of the lineup is for the Dodgers. Mookie Betts took 5 sliders, and then Ohtani took an outside sinker to left field, and then Freddie Freeman, he also hit a slider for a base hit. So you're talking about a guy, Dylan Lee, who is a fastball sinker pitch, or a slider sinker, turn the ball left, the slider sinker right. Okay, you're talking about a guy that's really wanting to get outs with the slider. Mookie Betts takes 5 sliders for a walk, and then Freddie Freeman hits a slider for a base hit. So the Dodgers took that slider away from him, and then Ohtani takes a good slider on the outer half to left field. As a pitcher at that point, you're like, damn, what do I do, man? They won't swing at my sliders out of the zone. They're hitting the sliders that are in the zone, and now I throw a good sinker to the outer half, and they just take the ball the other way. That's devastating if you're other team's pitcher, because now you're out there going, even when I make perfect pitches, I still can't get outs. That's what the Dodgers did in Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman to Dylan Lee in that 5th inning, and it was just a thing of beauty. I mean, the game inside the game there was simply fantastic. The 7th inning, Max Muncy hit a home run again, and then how about Andy Paez? We talked about this being good and bad. 9-pitch at bat. Of course, part of that is because of what Harley was talking about, because he expanded the zone and then fouled some pitches off. Hey, I was super proud of my boy Gus Varlin. I messaged him last night and said, hey, man, that was tough. By the time Gus Varlin came in, keep in mind, every course you can hear my Dodgers dogs in the background. They're having a darn good time. They're pretty happy about the fact that the Dodgers swept. So we're going to have to deal with that, because when my 2 Dodgers dogs, they get excited. Sometimes it's, and of course, when I'm on the microphone, it gets kind of tough. Hey, guys, do you mind? I'm trying to talk over here. But, hey, Gus Varlin, pretty proud of him. Messaged him last night. He had to face the meat of the lineup for the Braves. And not only did he have to do it, he had to do it at a part of the game to where they had nothing to lose. They knew the game was over. So, I mean, they were just loose and just letting it rip, right? And then also he had a couple check swing calls that he probably should have gotten called strikes. And then the zone tightened up on him. So it was, and then also, man, when you're Gus Varlin, you feel like if you don't string zeros, you're going to go right back down to Oklahoma City, right? So that was a massive grinder. I was super proud of him that he got through that. JP Fireeisen looked good. We talked about James Paxton today, how he had his fastball in the strike zone. 72% of the time, Shohei Ohtani, amazing 4-for-4 performance. Hits in 5 games in a row. Hey, this is some more statistics from Tim Neverett. Again, I'm going to mention it again. Flip back and forth between the TV video, Joe Davis, and it's either EK or Oral Hershiser. Flip back and forth between that and Tim Neverett and Rick Monday, because they are simply fantastic. So I was listening to the radio broadcast. Tim Neverett mentioned that this was, okay, so let me get this right. Okay. Longest home run of the year for Shohei Ohtani, 3rd longest of his career, 2nd longest in the major leagues this year. Again, that was per Tim Neverett on the radio broadcast today. So that was super cool that Shohei Ohtani was able to have that kind of day. He is simply amazing. Okay, let's get back to some of the comments. Normally on a different note, great to see Hosey having a solid start in the minors. Yeah, matter of fact, Norm, I had a chance to talk to Cody Friday night. Going to release that interview sometime this week. He is just a wonderful young player. I believe, last time I checked, I didn't check today, but he was somewhere around 360, and he's also hitting home runs, so he's doing a very, very good job in Triple Oklahoma City. Deuce says, no panic moves in May. Half the staff is on the IL, and we're still winning. No doubt. Denard says Chris Taylor is taking away at bats from both Outman and Paez. Time to release Taylor. Yep, that's one way to look at it. But again, I think, Denard, they're trying to build enough evidence to be able to say, not only is it not working right now, but it's not ever going to work in the immediate future. So, hey, Harley says one thing Paez has is his defense is awesome. I knew he could hit, but his fielding in the outfield has really been good. And wait till you see that arm. His arm is the best thing that he does. So, hey, this has been a great show. It is Sunday evening. You guys have been simply fantastic. Yep. Hey, Michael Craywick from Thailand says, seems like a catch-22 situation with Outman and maybe CT. In order to earn at bats, you got to produce. In order to produce, you need at bats. That's exactly right. That's why I always talk about the process and not results. The minor leagues, it's easy because, yes, you want to win. Henny will tell you at the AA level, AAA level. Travis will tell you. And then Jair will tell you with Great Lakes. And Shu will tell you with Rancho. You got to build a winning culture. You got to teach guys the importance of winning. But at the same time, the word you're going to hear over and over in the Dodgers minor leagues, process. So that's the debate Michael's having. Yes, major leagues is all about results. But to get results, you have to trust the process. So which one is it right now, the chicken or the egg? Do you need to get process-based with James Outman, or do you need to be results-based? My opinion, you need to be process-based, and the reason is because you're going to win 714 games this year anyways. no matter what James Outman does. So you have the leeway that you need to allow him to have a process to get back in it. Hey, normally he says, if you're the Yankees, are you freaking out about Judge and a toe injury? That is something he said he will need maintenance for the rest of his career. Yes. Hey, William Andrews says Vargas maybe. We're going to touch on Vargas and are down on the farm show Tuesday. We're going to have a big show. Austin's going to join us for that. He had a home run. Vargas is doing very well. I love the move to left field. So, hey, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It's been a great show. Great to be back live. Again, we're going to do this every Sunday night. Don't forget, Austin's going to come in on Monday nights too. We're going to do the Wednesday shows when we can, when we're home, that kind of thing. A lot of times we're at games. But Sunday nights are going to be every Sunday night. Monday nights are going to be every Monday night. Occasional Wednesday. So the best thing that I can tell you, turn on your notifications. So when we go live, you'll know it, and you can hop on like so many people did today. So thank you so much for joining. This has been a lot of fun. Super fun to get back on the live chat with you guys out there again. I want to thank you so much for everything you do for this community. It is just simply fantastic. This has been just a joy and so much fun to get to talk to you guys tonight. So, hey, thank you for everything. And it was just an absolutely awesome weekend. This weekend, as the Dodgers, they swept the big Atlanta Braves, and now the Marlins coming into town. So until next time, which will be Tuesday morning, Austin and I will bring you both the recap of the Monday game against the Miami Marlins, and then the big Down the Farm segment for all the minor league action that happened over the weekend. Until then, I want to thank you for tuning in and say, go Dodgers.